About a week ago, I was in the middle of something that was really bumming me out. I was just really stressed out. I was just feeling sort of mad at myself, mad at other things. And I sat back for a second and sort of thought to myself, I don't want to really feel like this. I'm a good person. Everything will be alright. And I just kept repeating these thoughts into my head. I'm a good person. Everything will be alright. I try to do good things. And honestly, it made me feel a lot better about myself and about the whole situation. And I was able to make it through that situation all right. I think positive talk for ourselves and positive talk about our lives is very important to us. Because basically when we talk to ourselves, when we think things to ourselves, they sort of get embedded in our mind. Like if we think like, oh, I did horrible at this, and then we just keep rethinking it, eventually it's just like common knowledge to ourselves that we are bad at something. While if we think good things about ourselves, giving ourselves constructive criticism, after a while that becomes sort of embedded in our mind, that good talk. And that's really why I think good talk is important, because if we talk good to ourselves, if we talk positively to ourselves one time, and then another time, then another and another, about whether it's about one thing or a mix of different things, I feel like that positivity gets embedded into our mind. It starts to become more and more of our thought routine. Now, that being said, positive thought does not fix everything, but it's definitely a huge step in the right direction. When we talk positively to ourselves, we're helping inflict change in how our mind thinks about the world around us, how our mind thinks about ourselves, and overall just our thought process in general. It makes us happier on the inside, more positive, and it's not a fix-all, but I think it's one of the most essential things to being positive and having good energy and being able to think about everything that's going on around us and not get bummed out even if we're in a really bad situation. And I don't know, it's just like we obsess so much over the things we could have done or could have done better, or like, oh man, I could have messed this up if I had done this one thing better. I knew better in my mind when I was doing it. But you can't get stuck in that thought process, because getting stuck in that thought process means that we're stuck in the past and we're stuck on the negative. Nothing's wrong with saying I could have done better at this, but I did alright for the time being. It was a quick decision or something. Saying something like that. Like, nothing's wrong with admitting, okay, I messed up, I did something wrong. But at the same time, just like hating on yourself and putting all this negative energy in your mind doesn't help you do better. In fact, it just makes you worse, because you're like, oh, I did horrible at this. And then the next time you do something, you feel like you're horrible, so you do horrible. I know, that sounds weird, but I mean, like, and that doesn't mean what you did was horrible, like, the next time you did. I just mean, like, if you think something to yourself enough times, it becomes true. And the same goes for positive thoughts as it does for negative thoughts. If we think we are horrible or a bad person or something, we start to see ourselves that way. That may be sort of how we start to act. While if we see ourselves in a positive, good way, that's how we start to act. And if you feel like right now, if you feel like, oh, I'm such a bad person, I did this or that, don't feel guilty. We all make mistakes. But I think we all have a little bit of good inside us. Well, a lot of good inside of us. And if we acknowledge that good and let that good resonate inside of us and let it spread through our blood and through our minds and through our bodies, we can be good. But we can only take advantage of that good if we let the good out of us. If we let, I don't mean out of us like giving up on, I mean letting out that positive energy in a constructive way. And that's all I have to say about it. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you like this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up and leave a comment below what positive things you say to yourselves. I'll read out a few that I think are some good mantras, some good positive things to yourself. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am enough. I love myself. I respect myself. I am beneath no one. This is my hour. This is my year. And I'm not going to let anyone else take that away from me. This is a mix of some I'm reading off an article and some I just came up with in my mind. I'll put a description to the article, has some positive mantras in it. You don't have to like everything about yourself to love yourself. But I feel like we should like ourselves too. And we should try to constantly aim towards a version of ourselves that we like, envisioning that. This is an interesting one. Don't say anything about yourself that you wouldn't say about your best friend. Now, all of these are in the article, and some of those aren't my quotes. Those are from the article I was reading. I'll put a link to that in the description. This is something I thought about before I read that article. These are just some others that I feel like are good mantras. Things I hadn't necessarily thought about myself. But most of the mantras I've mentioned in the video, like, I'm a good person, everything will be alright. Those are just general ones. Those are ones that sort of came to my head myself when I was thinking about it. Anyways, I hope all of you have a good one, and peace out, guys.